Can you comment, sorry, can you comment on the Washington Post report this morning that there was actually no vaccine reserves to begin with, and how that might throw a wrench in the state's plans that have already been jolted by the changes in who qualifies for a vaccine?
Yeah, and I'm getting it too this morning in communication with other governors. For those of you unfamiliar with this question, the federal government has been charged, if you will, of the botched response to the COVID crisis. It is not debatable that the United States did this more poorly than any nation on earth. With that being said, the states were left, whether it was to find PPE, which remember, we were supposed to have a strategic national stockpile, that didn't exist. And then in March, the president said, we're going to give everybody who wants a test will be able to get one. And then the next week, he said the governors have to do it all. I think the most egregious thing happened this morning. After months of preparation amongst a very frustrated population around very limited amounts of vaccines and trying to ethically and medically figure out who to get it to who are most threatened, long-term care and health providers, states have had to do this on their own. And there's a patchwork of things going on. In the midst of all that, rules have been continuing to change. And one of the rules changed that said who we should vaccinate out of this group in DC. Well, in Minnesota, that opened up the pool of folks that should get a vaccine up to 2.1 million. I'm all for it. The faster, is it going fast enough? No, it can never go fast enough. And we've been saying that. But our dosage was 60,000. So I, along with 6 other governors, sent a letter asking, why does it make sense to be holding back this reserve? Because they told us, do not plan for your second doses. You don't need to hold them. We are holding them in a storehouse in reserve, and we'll send them to you. For 4 months, we planned on that, and they told us that. And I and my team spent hundreds of hours doing that. We sent the letter this week and said, don't hold them back, release them. They said, okay. They were lying. They don't have any doses held back. There is no strategic supply for the second doses. So in answer to your question, we were on early this morning. We will continue to do what we've had to do, clean up the mess that the federal government leaves us with. The implications for Minnesota and for Minnesotans is, it will, as we said, we were already in a situation where the shortage from the federal government, I have 2.1 million of you in line, and they gave us 60,000. I can't go and buy them somewhere. I can't beg them from somewhere. I can't even have them shipped directly to me. They ship them to CVS, ship them to Walgreens, ship them to the hospitals. The small amount that I get, I can try and direct the best we can. With that being said, we've got a plan in place to use the dosages that we have. We're 5 days away from this disaster going away. We saw for the first time since the pandemic started a cohesive long-term plan to address both economics, health, safety, and the state's needs to be able to implement this. This is a process akin to putting a man on the moon. And it was described last night by the president as one of the biggest undertakings since World War II in terms of logistics. But somehow we've got folks that simply think they can just magically appear, or it's like, putting flyers on people's cars. It is so complex and so detailed, and to have this happen. So I'm doing this in real time with you. I have been frustrated at times beyond belief, but this one is so far beyond the pale to be almost unimaginable. And I'm going to call it, where did they go? Who's going to be prosecuted for this? What are the states to do when they've been lied to and made all their plans around this? I don't know the answer to those yet. But here in Minnesota, the vaccines we have and the distribution that's set up is strong and robust. We are going to lean into those changes that were made on Tuesday, and we already have, that hospitals are moving beyond 1A. I can tell you this, that skilled nursing facilities and the contracts for that, I was on the phone last night with the leadership of Walgreens and CVS. Skilled nursing facilities in Minnesota will be done by Monday, this coming Monday, and long-term care facilities, the thousands, some of those, are scheduled to have those done on the 30th of January. So that process is moving. The next 1B that we will be announcing in the next several days, we're going to have to go back and reevaluate what this news means, what it meant for the promise that we were going to get, and what it meant for the planning that we were going to put forward. But I am hopeful that this new commitment, this idea that this, again, we're at the highest number of deaths and the highest number of cases. It did not need to be this way. Nations like Taiwan of 21 million people have 757 cases and 7 deaths, and their businesses have been open because they tested and contact traced and protected their hospitals and did things right. This was an abject failure, and now they've added a final, unimaginable injustice by not doing what they said they were going to do and leading us down that. So more to come on this. I think you can expect, Katie, I don't know if I'm forecasting anything, early next week, there'll be a much more detailed, strictly focused on vaccine plan that was already in place and the adjustments because of this.